Welcome back. We are live at the North Augusta Christmas Parade, getting ready for the big man himself. He is coming up soon, probably the next 15 minutes. They can jack up your Honda Pilot, Richard.
Yes, they could.
Put some rims on it.
Yes, they could. I want the spinners if I have to be picky.
I would pay such good money to see you rolling down the street in spinners.
Spinner rims in a truck like that.
Street cred for Richard.
That's just me.
That's what he wants for Christmas, street cred.
Don't hide it under a bushel. You gotta let it shine.
Another beautiful day out here. I think everybody's just happy that that rain that came through while we were all sleeping. So it didn't cause any issues for patrons getting an early start.
The sheriff kind of took back his words. He called him a sociopath and then kind of said, well, maybe we shouldn't go there. But you look at some of this video and it's haunting. It really is.
A little earlier, he said they would not be prosecuting or dragging people out of their homes, but they have not taken this lightly. And so when they're telling you this is a mandatory evacuation, they want you to take it seriously. Also, something important to note, Governor Deal just in the last few minutes mentioned that buses leaving Savannah, the last bus leaves at noon tomorrow. So if your loved ones are not on it, then they're just out of luck. Last bus leaving tomorrow at noon. We'll be sure to follow that news conference and keep you updated. I had to stop and pull over and talk to him for a while today. You just drove by and it gave you such a silver lining of hope in such a sad time. You know, just because we're newscasters, this affects us the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
We go home and we think about it, and seeing him was just a tiny little bright spot today. Ben, thanks so much for that information out there. We do have Rhea Spigner standing by just a couple of streets over where this second scene has unfolded. Rhea, what can you tell us about this second scene? 4 of those people died at those 2 scenes we just took you to. 1 was taken to the hospital and later died there, but just an absolute tragedy in Columbia County.
A lot of damage out here today, Monique. This camper behind me, one of probably about 20 that are pretty smashed up. There's about 60 trees down. I would say maybe even more. The more I walk around this place, you can see just tons of trees down, cars smashed. It's just a real mess. The mom and the dad had left for the day. The 15-year-old boy asked if he could stay out here by himself, and they told him he couldn't, but he would have been in that trailer, in that camper, as soon as this came by.
I'm wondering what I got myself into at this point, but I'm here now, so there's no going back, but I do have a whole new respect for window washers.
Parents, I want you to imagine for me really quickly. You have 2 kids already. Your wife wants a third. You're a little bit on the fence. She talks you into it, as us wives can often do. You go to the first sonogram. There's 1. Wait a minute, we've got 2. Oh, wait, we got a third baby? But that's not all. We see 4. 4 babies on the way. You've already got 2. Your family is about to double. Well, thankfully, places like the Children's Hospital of Georgia are here for stories just like this. Meet the Kirkland family.
There is never a dull moment at the Kirkland house.
There will be times when I'm upstairs and, getting them ready for bed and they're all just crawling around on the floor and I'm like, I have 4 of you, it's crazy.
I picture myself having 1 kid, 2 kids the most, but having 6, never.
You ended up holding a baby on the shoot?
Like 2. I mean, that's the thing. When you're at the Kirkland's house, it's all hands on deck, you know?
Yeah.
When it was nap time, we each had 2 children.
Yeah.
I mean, it is organized chaos in the best possible sense of the word.
I was speaking with a lieutenant with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office about 5 minutes before this show. He says they are in the early stages of this investigation right now, but it appears that the person shot in the head was actually one of the shooters. They do have 1 person detained. I asked him, is he in custody technically? He says no one is in custody at this point. They just have someone detained for questioning. I asked, are y'all looking for anyone actively right now? He says they are not. Now, for those of you familiar with the Riverwalk, this all happened at the Unisys building, right behind the Unisys building on the Riverwalk. That's the old Fort Discovery building to a lot of you. So it was a chaotic scene. We had a reporter who was just there enjoying the evening, not working, who says everyone ran as soon as they figured out that it was gunshots and not fireworks. Some people were hiding in bushes. Some people were trampled. So just an absolutely chaotic scene.
Such a head game. I mean, no matter which way you slice it, but even for some of these older guys, the honorary start this
this morning. They put a lot of pressure on themselves to try to hit it as far as they can every year. But this year, a lot of patrons were just so thankful to be able to see Arnold Palmer out there today. They weren't sure if he was going to be able to make it, and he did. You could just feel the mood, how much love there was for Arnie out there, and so many people just happy to see him, whether he was swinging a driver or not.
Wonderful way to start the 80th Masters.
Absolutely, and not bad weather to start the 80th Masters either. It's been pretty nice out here, a little windy, but what's in store for these golfers tomorrow, Kevin?
My co-anchor is expecting a baby, and this is the way I find out.
It was so hard for me to keep that secret. Do you know how long I had to keep this secret?
Congratulations.
For our friends at home, I mean, on camera we spend a lot of time together, but off camera, Richard's one of my best friends too, so this was really hard to keep secret for so long.
I don't know if I can do the 11 o'clock news.
Well, these are without a doubt the toughest words I've ever had to share with you, but this past week, my husband and I had to say goodbye to our little girl. I was close to 19 weeks pregnant. And during a sonogram, we found out there was no longer a heartbeat. But I do want to thank you so much for all the support and the love that you've shared with us the past few days. We will never be able to tell you how much it means. But I also want to say, I really had no idea how many women this happens to, how many families are going through this. So I'm hoping if anything good can come from this, it's the chance for me to tell you, you are not alone. And it's okay to talk about it. And I have shared a little more of my story on my blog. We posted the link on our websites, and all you have to do is click the Find It button.
Innocent until proven guilty. What do you think about that phrase now that you've been through what you've been through?
I basically was considered guilty until proven innocent. You realize that, I mean, even though the jury said not guilty, if anybody Googles my name, they're going to see my mugshot. They're going to see that I was accused of that.
Jay says every day he still deals with these people who have heard of this thing, and no matter what you say, they're always going to have their doubts. That video is pretty unreal, some of the things he admits to, and he's still pleading not guilty in this trial.
Yes, at this point.
Pretty neat stuff. That event will also showcase some local designers. The jewelry ranges from $500 to about $1 million. I know you're looking for something for me for Christmas, so that Madonna tiara.
That's the one.
That would be acceptable.
If you had been anchoring this morning, you would have tried it on.
I would have certainly tried. I'm in line here with a lot of very hungry people, and that is what this story is all about. You may not recognize his name, but chances are you've heard about, maybe even tasted his legacy. The man who made pimento cheese famous died this year, but his delicious legacy lives on. Especially there in Charleston, you've got all of those rivers flowing into Charleston with the surge coming up from the coast, so it could get pretty bad there. And a lot of you have been sharing your thoughts on social media today. Pamela says, I am thrilled to see change coming. This country has been so broken, and what was being done wasn't working. Janet says it is a sad day for the people of the USA. Laura says, absolutely disgusted. Neither Hillary or Trump should have been allowed to run. This is the future of America, and I don't want to be a part of it, and I don't want my child to be either. This is not what America is supposed to be. And Joseph adding a little bit of levity on a day that probably needs it. He says, I said from the start that I'd rather sit through a Nickelback Creed concert than see either one win. But in all honesty, social media has felt a little like a war zone today. You've probably felt that too. When I was listening to some of the kids I read to at Copeland Elementary this morning, they were talking about the election in the hallway, and it really hit me hard. Kids are not born knowing how to hate. It's something they're taught. Let's keep that in mind with how we handle ourselves today and how we talk about this election. Unfortunately, it's more common than you might think, and usually just out of convenience of having a smaller, empty container lying around. But we put it to the test. Antifreeze, paint thinner, and the air conditioner cleaner Mark drank. Nearly impossible to tell which is the drink and which is the chemical. And not only is this something that could be very dangerous, it could also be really costly. There have been a lot of court cases, a lot of lawsuits that ruled this sort of thing is considered negligence.
When you line them up like that on that counter, that's frightening. You can't tell the difference at all.
You really can't.
So just watch out for these smaller, unlabeled containers.
Exactly. Don't do it just out of convenience.
And what's the first thing you should do if you find yourself that it's too late once you've taken that swallow?
Absolutely. And that's what's interesting. Each chemical can be different. So in Mark's case, he drank water afterwards just as an instinct, but that was a concentrated chemical, so it activated it and made it worse. So you need to call poison control because every chemical is different. Some they'll ask you to eat bread to soak it up. Some they'll say induce vomiting. So first call should probably be poison control.
This is our Christmas card to you guys because we can't thank you enough for having us into your home.
And because we don't have all of your addresses.
And we don't have all of your addresses. Some of you moved.
Kids, if you're at home, you got the hot chocolate going and you're waiting for the big man himself, he is coming up in just a few minutes. So we are going to have the big man himself during his busy season.